live. So this is Thomas's Roadmap to Success video, and here's Thomas, and he's a black lab sheepdog mix, and he's 3 years old. And his guardians came to talk to us about some behavioral issues where he had some door etiquette issues where he was kind of pushing past the door frame and trying to go outside, or being pushy and just kind of like lunging to try to get out the door first. And one of the main things that we wanted to talk about today was just adding some structure and some rules to his life. So he didn't have a lot of rules in place beforehand, so we talked about a couple of different rules that the guardians will put in place. He's not allowed on the furniture for 30 days or more until his the behaviors that they called about are fixed and he's behaving in a more desirable fashion. And they did show the desire to not have him on the couch at all. One way to get him off the couch again is to push his body when he's on the couch to the point where he's about to get off the couch himself, let go of his body so he feels like he's pulling himself off the couch. So that way you're not pushing him all the way. He has to use his own body to get off the couch. That's the best way to get him off and to keep him off. We talked about we talked about the 4 escalating consequences today to go over how, the 4 escalating consequences. So first, if we want to disagree with Thomas, we're going to hiss at him. And then if he keeps continuing with the undesirable behavior, then we're going to stand up abruptly, and then leading into marching towards him with intention. And then finally, the leash timeout if he persists in the behaviors that are undesirable. So that was the 4 escalating consequences, and the things that are most important for the guardians to keep in mind is to make sure that Thomas is respecting their personal space. So if he comes over and starts trying to nudge or paw at them to get their attention, they need to use the escalating consequences to keep Thomas away from outside of their personal boundaries, and then ask him to sit or do something to make sure that he is behaving in a proper way. So once they ask him to sit, they can pet him, and that would go into petting with a purpose, where we're always going to reward the dog for good behavior by petting them. And anytime we want to pet them, even if they aren't coming over to look for attention, we're going to go over to them and ask them to do something, whether that's sit or laying down, and then we can pet them as long as we want to. So those are some of the things that we're going to work on with Thomas. Another thing that was very important is we decided to go over a focus exercise and a leadership exercise. In the leadership exercise, we wanted to make sure that Thomas started to get the mindset of being a follower, with his guardians being the leaders of the house. So to establish that, we threw a treat a little distance away and then put one between the guardians' feet, and then they claimed about a 2 to 3 foot space around them that Thomas could not go into. Using the escalating consequences, the hiss, and then marching towards him when he was invading those boundaries, they were able to establish that boundary and establish that the food was theirs. And Thomas learned to respect that by eventually laying down. Then the guardians can turn their body sideways, their head sideways, tap the floor to allow Thomas to go and get the treat reward. So that was one of the first ways that we worked to establish him as the follower and the guardians as a leader. And then we also worked on the claiming the door, where, similar to the treat, the leadership exercise, they were keeping Thomas outside of the foyer, and there was a nice boundary where he couldn't cross over into the foyer tile space. So that was claiming the door, to make sure that Thomas learned how to respect the boundaries, so when people come over and guests come over, he's not bursting through the door, and he's actually started getting to the point where he was laying down and being very calm and had wonderful energy. Thomas, sit. Sit. All right, so that is Thomas's roadmap to success, and so making sure he has plenty of exercise and some rules, and I think he'll be a very calm and happy little guy. All right, thank you.